late night reviews, and by late night I mean 9:35 p.m., which is late for me because I usually go to bed between 8:30 and 9. And I don't even get up that early. 7 o'clock, 7:30? What's wrong with me? Okay, so this isn't probably normally a movie I would have watched. I feel like these are the types of movies my mother enjoys, romantic comedies. And my wife too, but she doesn't really get into the oldies like I do. She's more of like 1990s, early 2000s when it comes to her movie purview. This is a 1954 black and white release, Sabrina. And I have never seen this movie. Picked it up on VHS a couple of days ago. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was directed by one of my favorite directors of yesteryear, Billy Wilder. And I'm thinking of, like, I think he did one of my favorites, Stalag 17, which he has his reoccurring player. And then he did Sunset Boulevard, which also has William Holden in it. One of my other favorites, Some Like It Hot, with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon. Billy Wilder was prolific of 50s and 60s director. Lots of comedies in there, but then like a serious movie like Sunset Boulevard. So this movie is considered the romantic comedy genre. And one of my customers recently, she was talking about how her favorite movie was Breakfast at Tiffany's. Have that movie, haven't watched it in years. Another movie that I probably haven't seen since I was a kid. My mom enjoyed that era of films from her childhood. So, again, this movie came out in 1954. Audrey Hepburn, Billy Wilder directing, and Humphrey Bogart. I love his camera shots that he tells a story, and the way he would frame Audrey Hepburn to show her beauty, and Audrey Hepburn's eyebrows. Ooh, that's all I gotta say. What a beautiful woman. And anyway, so this movie, I'm looking at the back of the box here, 6 Academy Award nominations, a modern day Cinderella story. And interestingly enough, the guy that plays her dad in this movie as a chauffeur plays a butler in another one of my childhood favorite 70s era Disney films. He plays the butler of David Niven in a movie called No Deposit, No Return. It's not for everybody, but it's I think those movies that you watch a lot as a kid become classics in your mind. So I recommend the 70s Disney movie, No Deposit, No Return. But we're talking about this Billy Wilder film. So this was adapted from a 1953 by Samuel Taylor for the screen by Billy Wilder. And it grossed $4 million at the box office, I think I read. I was a little bit creeped out by the age difference between... I didn't look up how old William Holden was. One of my favorite actors, one of Ronald Reagan's best friends, by the way. But he was... I'm having an Uncle Joe senile moment right now. Humphrey Bogart was 55 years old, 56 years old, and he died a couple of years after this movie came out. And the Audrey Hepburn character, they mentioned that she was supposed to be 22. In real life, at the time, he was 30 years older than her. He was born in 1899, and she was born in 1929. So there's this glaring age difference. And then there's kind of even this one scene where the Humphrey Bogart character takes her out on a sailing boat, and he dresses up in his old college sweater, which I believe is a Yale sweater, and it's 1920s dress. And he's like, I'm going to bring my portable record player, and it's a hand crank 78 record player with all these 1920s hit records, just to kind of drive home the age difference even at the time. I don't know if it was just like not as big of a deal back in 54, but to me, it kind of bumped down my overall vibe and my rating on the movie. I love Billy Wilder's comic timing and the way he just structures films and the way he did camera angles and the way he used a lot of black and white in his movies. This movie could have been 4 out of 5, but just the whole vibe for me of the big age difference and then the weird love triangle. Again, loved the comedy, loved the actors, but just the age difference just bothered me. And I even talked to my wife about it, and she's like, yeah, that's kind of creepy. Maybe I'm just tainted by the modern Me Too movement and I'm extra sensitive, but I'm going 3 out of 5 on this film. It looks like critics don't agree with me because of Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a 93%. IMDb was 7.6 out of 10. Google users were pretty high too at 84%. But I don't know, there's just something about that age difference that really rubbed me the wrong way. Apparently there was a more modern version of this movie where I think Harrison Ford played the Humphrey Bogart character. That was the Linus. Linus is the Humphrey Bogart character's name. And, you know, I loved his acting. I had done a review several months ago on him in the movie Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which is probably one of the greatest films of all time. But there's just something about the age difference. My buddy Ryan, who hails from Summerlin, Las Vegas, he knows what I'm talking about. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I want to know your comments. Am I just being too sensitive? Is it a movie of its time and maybe it's not a big deal? Who knows? I don't know. I was uneasy about it, okay? I liked a lot of things about the movie, but that's all I have to say about that. 30 years is a huge difference. Very unrealistic. If it would have been 10, maybe even 15, I would have been more okay with the love story. But guy could have been her father. Until next time, we'll see you then.